Good morning, good afternoon, good evening on your screen in our CRMKonvos show. In our 254th edition of our show, we have the pleasure to have again Robert Geppert as a guest. He has been appointed just some weeks ago, freshly managing director of DATAGROUP in Germany, and bringing with him over 2 decades of leadership experience in the IT and digital transformation sectors. Prior to joining DATAGROUP, he served as managing partner at Cisco Plan Reply and held executive roles at Cybit, GmbH, and ITML GmbH, which is now an intelligence company.
Yeah.
Known for his expertise in digital strategies, customer engagement, and business development, Geppert is recognized for driving innovations and operational excellence in complex enterprise environments. He held a degree in marketing communication from the University of Pforzheim and is based in Rosenheim, Germany, in lovely Bavaria. Welcome, Robert.
Welcome.
Good to see you again.
Thank you, guys. We can stop it here. It won't get any better, isn't it?
That is the reason why, before we get nasty, we try to be polite.
Good.
The honest thing is that it is a pleasure to have you back again. And we had you in a similar constellation like this. We had you together with Andreas Schuster on another occasion. And it's good to have you back. So to start it off, a lot of things are changing these days, not only jobs, such as you have discovered the better, which is the enemy of the good, and joined DATAGROUP and have a new field of optimistic perspectives running around and going around. And look, it's just honest to fair. What is the state of CX from your perspective? What is your definition of good perspective? And what, for the hell and heck, is CX for you?
Well, at the end, some you could name it. Bad people say CRM CX is just CRM, just in another version. I would differentiate it. At the end, CX, customer experience, is the way we surpass the expectations of customers. But it is the customer experience. When does customers be experienced? If they expect, okay, I call a service colleague of company XY and I expect waiting 20 minutes in the line and get a colleague which has no clue of me, of my data, of my processes, or my history, and everything runs fine, and he or she is committed, she's on point, and she or he helps me. That is experience. And why is experience? Because I didn't expect that. If you have that high of experience, it's not that easy that people say I feel experienced. So at the end, the target has to be to surpass the expectations, in my opinion.
So Aldi and Ryanair are zero experience.
Why?
No, it's what you just said, because they don't strive to exceed anybody's experience. They just deliver towards their promise.
I don't know. At the end,
be cheap. That's both of their promise.
They don't want to experience people.
It's what you just said. I'm pulling your leg now and recall what you just said.
I don't say if I say what's for me customer experience, and for me it's customer experience if I have the target to surpass the expectations of customers, which is not, to be fair, which is not the same if I said, okay, if I don't expect the expectations, I don't do customer experience. I say, in my opinion, how can I can I manage customer experience? And
Mhm.
let's surpass the expectations of customers.
Is that sustainable? Would be my next follow-up.
I
Because
mean,
we are. I'll give you an example. We are humans, right? So
Yeah.
you exceed my expectations, and then you do it
Customer.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm your customer. You exceed my expectations, and then you do it again. And the third time, I expect it.
Yes.
Means you isn't that a vicious
Yeah, but
circle?
shouldn't be. I'm a company, and I want to manage, or I wanna live customer experience.
Mhm.
Shouldn't it be the target of my company, always to succeed? I mean, there's a difference between, and Ralph, you said it. There's a difference in what is my target, and do I reach that target? But shouldn't I try to reach and say, okay, if I got a certain level, shouldn't I try to enlarge that level to get it higher? I mean, if we at the other end, you would say, okay, if I accept being at that level and I say that's good customer experience, I would say in 5 years or in a year maybe, that's the average. That's not anymore the a customer experience. So I think at the end we should try to get better and better at the customer touch points, and not to be satisfied with the situation as it is.
So then we are back to Aldi and Ryanair. Because
I mean,
what do they do? Make it cheap, make it no frills. Ryanair at some point in time even wanted to charge for opening up the loo on the plane.
Yeah, but then we come back to the question: is customer experience the only medicine to be successful out there? That's what I didn't say. I mean, and that's not the question. The question: you can be very successful being the low price champion, but again, the processes at Ryanair need to work. If you go to Aldi, you need to find your products, even if it's a good price. And the success of Aldi is that they have quality with a low price in the combination. That's a kind of experience. But I don't want to argue is that customer experience or not. But they are successful because they have a certain niche and a certain they build a certain segment. So if you ask me if customer experience the only way to be successful, so no, of course not. There are different ways. Need everybody to do customer experience? If you are the market leader, maybe not. We just discussed a bit about some of the market leaders in software business. Maybe they don't need to have customer experience, but there are a lot of companies which are in the middle, and to differentiate between the combination, you can do customer experience to get a USP.
Why not saying it's delivery to promise? I mean, the promise of, let's stick to Ryanair and Aldi, right? So their promise is we are doing it no frills, we are doing it cheap, you can't expect much comfort, and well, this is what I get. This is what I get. So I'm not disappointed. If I compare that with Lufthansa, they are having a different promise, and I still don't have comfort. So there I'm disappointed for the same thing. Agree. Yeah.
Could be the same thing, but again, there are. I mean, at the end, look, customer experience is, and I mean, there are different ways to not to reach. I mean, I have never seen a company. Not right, but there are really less companies who really reach customer experience. Where you say, okay, no matter which talk, like Apple's, like Amazon's, their business model based on that they are best in service, and you always have experience if they got in touch with the service colleagues. You have committed, you have the time, you don't need much time. So they are much better than the other companies doing that. So, and there are less companies who reach that level. Most of them are on their way.
The thing is managing the expectation which companies try to achieve and setting the expectation in the right amount, such as if you combine affordability with a certain amount of quality and you have an uprise in the quality level in the Aldi brand section products, which are not only any longer their own brands, but that they have labeled brands with a good reputation for a fair, affordable price, then it is setting the expectation in a fair amount. And one can create with this, if the expectation is reached or achieved, some kind of, to say so, happiness, as we had it last week. But the thing is that if this is not managed properly, we have more and more customers which have different expectations, such as Thomas was a bit teasing you on the perspective that if you once have achieved the set expectation, the expectation is rising, and then will come the moment when you will not achieve the just set grown expectation. Now, if I'm clearly in my communication, this is my target group, this is what you get for your money, and I'm fair on that one, and I deliver a fair service, not fair in the way that it is just at a certain level, but that it's an honest one, then I have a clear expectation setting. With Lufthansa versus Ryanair, we had that example last week as well. It's a very nice one, such as it's not that you expect a lot. Yeah, being transported, having a certain amount of luggage, you pay your meal, you pay your drink, end of story.
Yeah.
And yes, if I go for another brand in air transportation, I get easily disappointed. But how is that in software? And what is the expectation these days from your experience within the last companies you have seen and you have worked for? What is the expectation these days by customers? What do they expect from their suite product if they go for the SAP suites? Is it a better CRM? Is it a better sales tool? What is the expectation, and what are you asking your organization and your colleagues for?
I mean, in the last years after COVID, the approach of customers, we want to do customer experience, decreased. Most of them say we do a CRM project, we do a portal project maybe, but also the digitalization in B2B decreased extremely. So the years before COVID, we had a lot of customers which said, okay, yes, we do want to do a CRM project and start with that, but at the end, we wanna do customer experience. After that, we do that project, which intends all to our customer experience strategy. And if I compare the times, the last 3 to 4 years, and the time before COVID, I would say the time before, a lot of more companies had customer experience as one target of their customer projects they have. And now they do only, let's say, fillet pieces of software implementations to improve the sales, maybe to improve the service, but there's no dialogue or no discussion about customer experience. Not in that area we had the years before.
Can that be because too many pundits, practitioners, vendors touted CX as an end, not as a means?
I mean, isn't customer experience at the end, talking about vendors, the same thing as we had 20 years ago, CRM? I mean, they put this philosophy, this strategy, company strategy, and said, that's the most thing, and you will be successful, different to what we discussed in the beginning of the meeting. And they use that let's say bubble to show customers you need to do that, and I have the solution or the software for that. And I mean, at the one thing, this increases the market and the companies listen and try to do it, but at the same time, in my opinion, that's the beginning of creating a bubble, and let's implode the bubble, because I mean, to be honest, the most companies won't reach customer experience, and they realize it. They realize it's not stopping with 1 or 2 or 3 projects, because it's an ongoing process. They realize it's an end-to-end strategy, company-wide. I, as head of sales, need to interact with the head of service, with the head of marketing. We have to need to have the same understanding, the same strategy, and that's really it costs not only money and time, it costs nerves, it costs discussions, and many companies are not willing, or many leaders are not willing to invest in that, because it's easier that I create or implement my software tool for my department, and then I'm fine with that. And then we are far away from customer experience, because that's only one silo next to another silo.
Now this is a segue into a suite. Is a suite approach a helper? Or would that be a helper? To avoid silos, for example.
Yeah, in a suite approach, you would, and you need to expect that the integration, the technical integration of systems should work. It's not a guarantee. I mean, and if you talk about customer experience and you imagine a pyramid, the technical base is only the baseline in that pyramid. If you want to go on your way for customer experience, you need to go on the next level, the organizational. You need to make sure that all the organizations in your company which have customer contact go into this journey, and then we go to the third level, processes. You need to make sure that no matter if you have a service guy or a sales guy or a guy in the engineering which has contact to the customer, the same understanding, and they live in similar situations, the same processes. And that brings us to the last point, to the top of the pyramid, and that's the mindset. I mean, in the end, all these 3 guys need to have the same mindset, how to solve this situation and what I need to do. And they have to think beyond borders, just as, and then now back to the suite thinking or discussion, just as a software need to be implemented beyond borders, or seamless. I mean, seamless is difficult, but you need to integrate the systems, but not only the systems. You need to integrate processes first of all, and the systems will follow. And if the mindset is there, people or users will challenge the departments, the IT department or the CX department, to bring more data, more combined integrated data into the systems, because they need it for living customers. And I mean, there's no guarantee if you implement a suite that you do customer experience. I mean, you easily can implement a suite and don't integrate a shit between the systems. people need to think endless process or end-to-end process, and then the systems will need to integrate it. And of course, that's maybe an advantage of a suite in comparison to versus to best of breeds tools. I mean, each vendor said integration is not a problem. I mean, yeah, the problem is in the mind of the people, and if they have the expectations for integrated data, you can create your interfaces, but of course, you can expect from a vendor of a suite like Salesforce or SAP that they have cared about the interfaces in a little better way than the best of breeds vendors.
If they all say integration is not a problem, why is integration between systems one of the most expensive parts of a project?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, because
which relates to the experience of those clients, by the way.
I mean, but isn't, I mean, if we did the change, the paradigm change from on-premise to cloud, isn't the fact that we accepted with that change that interfaces will increase? Because, I mean, to be honest, and everybody knows, there is not one cloud. You have multi-clouds, and you in 20 years ago, when a CIO had all his systems in his own company, in his storages and so on, he was responsible to integrate the systems. Nowadays, if you license a cloud system, who is responsible to integrate it to the backend systems or to the other clouds? And in my opinion, I would say, going to the way that we have cloud systems, we have to accept that we have more interfaces, and somebody has to care about it. And the CIO has, in my opinion, less motivation to do all this technical caring of implementations, because it's cloud. And if there's no integration, he has no problems, he has no challenges, he needs to send people to the project. I mean, it's not 0 and 1, but at the end, it's much easier for the CIO to say, oh, do your cloud project and try not to integrate it. I mean, it's senseless, but for the CIO nowadays, it's easier to say, okay, do your cloud project, and we look for the integration. I mean, a good CIO will manage that process, but of course, it's more difficult, in my opinion, than 20 years ago, when you have standard interfaces between on-premise system 1 or 2, because everybody said, okay, how about the integration? And the integration discussion, in my personal opinion, decreased in the last 10 years, since cloud is accepted and a standard.
Is that due to cloud, or is that due to increasing amounts of shadow IT?
Maybe both. And maybe
at the end, integrations are a function of different applications used. So, and there it doesn't matter a thing where this application is hosted, whether it's in my own data center, in SAP's, Oracle's, whoever. Yeah.
I mean, 20 years ago, or 25 years ago, the CIO was the innovation manager. He looked which technical innovations are out there, brought it to the departments, to the lines of business, presented the innovation, and so nowadays the departments, the lines of business, are much quicker in their decisions than the CIO can handle it with these departments. So the departments decide most, or in many cases, speed the decisions and lead the decisions, and the IT department is try to run behind the business, the lines of business. And with all that, and that's the CEO says, okay, do what you want, but let me my systems, which I care about, I try to handle that and manage them and let them I care about that, and do your stuff if you want to.
That sounds a heck of a lot like the end of enterprise architecture. Because if everybody does what they want, then
that's something
this
SAP
is like
tried to avoid. I'm pretty sure about that. I mean, when I started with ITML, our philosophy and our future strategy was you have one single big nucleus, and you need to not to put some satellites around, just like vendors like SAP did it, but okay, you need to enlarge or to enlarge the nucleus with maybe a CRM system and so on. And this idea of the future technology was completely done with the cloud change, because with that situation it was clear that you can't stop that. You have maybe I wouldn't say it's the end of an enterprise, but you have not only one big nucleus and satellites, you have many systems, and you have to combine them, integrate them, if you want to live customer experience or other philosophies.
Do we have a similar game changer now with the agentic AI movement, such as Nadella says the classical ERP is dead? So Bill McDermott came on his Knowledge 25 on stage and said classical CRM is dead. What's your opinion on that?
I don't know. I mean, paper is dead, and what do I have here? Emails, you said, Thomas, you said before in our short discussion, email is dead.
For long and repeatedly.
Do we think that the sales rep is dead? And the AI will I don't think that will happen. I mean, I think that AI will overtake processes which were always senseless or stupid activities. A little example from my studies time. I did graphic design, desktop publishing during my studies. I was at Messe Frankfurt in the United States, and I did the key visuals. I created the key visuals for the trade fairs in North America, and I would say the creation part was maybe 20%, and 80% was okay. I have a few pictures. I have to cut that pictures, bring it to another. I mean, this stupid stuff was a part of the job of a graphic designer. And nowadays, and in the near future, AI will help us with that and will do that job. Will AI create completely new creations? Not yet. And if you see in social media all the ChatGPT based pictures, you see it you see only 20% of the picture, and you know, okay, that's ChatGPT based. That's not something what I call it's a creation. It's something you put it together in a similar background, and maybe in the future AI will improve in that stuff. But I think at the end, but it's only my person. I think it's another level, just like the industrialization, when we said, okay, people in the industries will have to leave, and the machines will do everything. I mean, of course, you will have industries which change and which maybe are deleted in 10 years of the market, maybe. But I'm pretty sure that will have a movement in some jobs, and now we go back to the customer experience. I mean, a discussion with a customer, bringing some emotion and some feelings like the safety that we will handle that job, the good stomach feeling that people he got to know. You cannot digitalize that feelings, in my opinion. So maybe the job of a sales rep will be different in 10 years. And of course, if we discuss some processes, you can already in these days do let a German support center do international support with AI, because AI overtake the translations in a, let's say, satisfied way. Maybe not without a few mistakes, but in a way that you can do support with a German speaking or Italian speaking, you name it, support, and you can handle other countries with AI-based translation. That's already there. And I mean, I think, yeah, of course, this will change some industries or some job profiles, some roles. But I don't think that's people will move and AI will come. I think the work will be different, and in some areas more efficient, like development. You can AI can help you, and we do at DATAGROUP. We use AI to not only improve services, but to make services, steady services, more efficient. And for that, it's good for the customers. Yeah. Go ahead.
I have a dedicated question. I was just thinking about the typical experience. You mentioned a shop. Will advisory in a shop, in the situation that a client is looking for a product, change with the usage of artificial intelligence? What will change in that work of the advisory?
I mean, last year was of a trade fair with Amica. Amica is, and they are in the robotic area. There are different standard robotic types. A lot of them are for lifting up some weights, like for Amazon drivers and so on, which have in Germany a limit, a kilogram limit, and you can use in the near future robots to lift more heavy packages. And I was with Amica, and Amica is a robot which has a human face, which has about 40 motors in his head to have some mimics, which can, with AI, see and interpret where Amica is. Can remember if you talk to Amica and you go 20 minutes later to Amica, it could remember that Amica already talked with you and remember that. So I think that AI will support us in areas. I mean, some people in this trade fair say, you can put this Amica into a which is the right word for Altersheim?
Yeah, retirement home, pension home.
Retirement, yeah. And you can already, because you can talk to her, ask her, I would say her, because she has a female mimic. You can talk to Amica. You can ask her questions about life, about how to improve life. And I mean, that would be for all people which has no dialogue, no possibility, would be a improvement already. And I think in that situation, it could help, but AI cannot, and robotics, AI-based robotics cannot brew coffee.
Not yet.
Not yet. So I think, yeah, of course, it will improve. Not problem, but my challenge with AI is that everybody of the vendors, the analysts, everybody tell you and the customers that AI is already there and it's already working. And if you go deeper and deeper into some AI vendor, you see that it's still hallucinating. It's for little use cases already there, but for the most use cases, even with Microsoft, I mean, the Copilot is not that far as Microsoft tells you. And I mean, there we create again a bubble. And in my opinion, it's already clear that customers will disappointed. They see that. That's a little challenge with what I have with AI, because everybody has the big fear not to be seen as part of this innovation top leaders, and fears that if I tell the truth, the customers, I'm behind the other vendors, the other leaders, but every leader is not that far as he or she tells the customers. That's the only thing I have as problem, and I think let's need people like you or us, the advisors in this field, to moderate, to differentiate it, and to leverage the expectations on that topic AI. But to come back, I think AI will improve things, but if we talk about customer experience, let's talk about how many % of customers have really good or perfect customer relationship management. So I think there are many customers, they have the second or third CRM system implemented, but I wouldn't say that they are really that far or that much more far as they were 10 years ago. And what I ask is, if a sales rep don't let a system without AI tell him some information about this opportunity, the next best action, why should AI change that? Because if I don't have good data, customer data, how can AI help me to improve that? AI needs good and a lot of data. And I think that will be the big challenge, putting AI into customer experience, that you need to have data, seamless data, integrated data, because AI need to have seamless entry to the data to help you.
Which brings us a little back to suite and non-suite. As you know, today we have the Sapphire in Orlando.
Yeah.
There was a big time keynote with, well, half of the board and extended board basically talking there. And one key theme that came up today was merging best of breed and best of suite by making it best of breed in a suite. Is that would that be somehow conducive to help? Or is that just another buzzword?
Yeah. I mean, from a perspective of SAP or other enterprise or end-to-end enterprise, whatever that will be, but end-to-end enterprise vendors, the suite discussion is clear, or the suite message. I mean, of course, they appel for trust the suite, go into suites, and don't do best of breed. I mean, it's I would say it's almost from their perspective a no-brainer. But the more important thing is, are there good reasons for best of breeds? And I would say there are indeed facts where best of breeds in situations is the better answer than going best of suite. I mean,
no, if you're saying best of breed in a suite, you are setting yourself the objective of being best of breed and part of something bigger. My
experience says in the past, SAP was not that good accepting best of breed in a suite. They tried, and you know what I mean, they tried to avoid that, or to let customers pay for best of breed in a suite. I mean, if that's the strategy behind it, I can understand that. That was beginning with ITML in the mid of, or somewhere, let's say in the second half of the 2000 years, they started to let pay customers if they use data from SAP in a best of breed environment. And something in me tells me that SAP won't delete that strategy.
Misunderstanding probably. They are saying that their own software will be best of breed, but part of a suite. That's what they say. Not that we include, let's say, a Salesforce and say Salesforce is better than we are.
Okay, I mean, I don't believe that one vendor of the world, no matter of SAP or others, will can say best of suite is always in each area better than best of breed. I mean, look, there are always different perspectives on that discussion. In the CRM times, the reason for best of breed was usability. A suite's message or suite strategy said, okay, you have a better integration, but less usability. And best of breed was made sure that your users you'll be satisfied and will accept the system, which makes the money they invested more useful, and so on and so on. So the reason why companies improve is competition. And best of suite means, from the SAP perspective, and we have to discuss it. I'm since 25 years SAP partner, so I pay, I earn my money with being SAP partner. But at the same time, let's say I'm advisor for customers, and I think SAP needs some guys who say the truth, or say their opinion. Tell their opinion. And SAP has, I would say, a kind of monopoly in the ERP area. Yeah, of course, we have Microsoft and we have the software vendors, but if you look on an international environment, the air is really thin next to SAP, and there are a lot of reasons using or picking SAP. And in my opinion, yes, ERP is one of the complexest software systems you can have. It's the backyard of all companies. And of course, it's not that trivial to put all this technology, the functions, into a standard clouds, easy to use. That's maybe not possible. Or it's really, really, really hard to reach. But at the same time, the development of ERP in the last 20 years of SAP was, in my opinion, not that as it could be or it should be if they had really a competitor on ear level, on eye level. And if we compare that to Sales Cloud version 2, then I would say that's the first time in the last years, in my opinion, SAP developed from scratch a software which is not only state of the art, which has the potential, if the functionality is completely developed, the best software system to be the software system in the world for years. Because Salesforce, all the other systems are older technology, not that. So why is that the case? Because they had competition. They had Salesforce, which kicked our ass.
Big time, yeah.
Let's say a lot of times, maybe too often. I would say have a balanced win rates against Salesforce, but that's on other table. The reason, in my opinion, is competition. And in the ERP environment, where's the competition, the big competition? for SAP.
There is no big one. And if I'm looking at what IDC reports about the CRM market share, it's telling that an Adobe that does marketing and marketing only when it comes to CRM has a bigger market share than SAP. So there was something to be done.
So, I mean, come back to this discussion, is a best of breed within best of suite discussion. I don't think that they reach it because they don't have to. Because in that, especially in the ERP area, and that's a main market right now for SAP, a growth market that will change in the next years. I'm pretty sure that topics like CX or supply chain management will come back to the big announcements messages of SAP, because they need increasing markets, and the ERP market is only any 15 years a growth market when you have major releases and major transformations. So, I mean, their message is clear from their perspective, but I don't think that they can reach that, in my opinion.
Back to CX Suite and agents, in what role do you think does an AI layer play in helping businesses engage so that customers have they always have an experience, but also a positive one?
I think AI will give us a completely new user interface in the future.
How will that look like?
You will let's stay in the SAP area. I don't know how many years it will last, but you will call Joule. Joule, give me a report. I translate it into the process. Give me a report with customer data of my CRM system combined with production information of my supply chain. So doing that stuff across systems, yes, you have to care about the user rights, but if we separate this discussion and say, in my opinion, can AI and the developments in this area bring us the user interface, let us away from mouse and computer using, if every system, I don't know, but many systems, and give the users the possibility to use suites as a suite. And I think all the vendors, Microsoft, at the moment they are working together as partner in the AI area. I don't know if that will last forever, or sometimes they will separate that, but Microsoft will do that, and I think other vendors will join that. AI-based communication with software tools will be the new user interface in the future.
Means conversational.
With conversation, and AI will make sure that the data are there and transport it to a display or give it to you, however. So, and working with software systems will not only be the discussions in 10 or 15 years, how does the software looks like, but how can we converse, we can lead a dialogue with the software. And then, of course, the display or the computers will be one output channel. But it's not only the only channel you use the software system. That's one of my beliefs for the future.
So basically, if I understand you right, the application frame itself will go into the background. Maybe be there for power users only.
Power users, developers, freaks who...
Freaks like us,
technical freaks who will say, okay, that's really vintage. They call it vintage.
Retro people.
Yeah, but I mean, reaching customer experience has its limitations because people say, I cannot use this system and that systems. And then you have to say, okay, can we combine that? If you have an AI which combine that, I mean, where is the problem? And at least that can improve or catalyze customer experience from the user perspective, because they should get entry to all the data, and maybe there will be in the future AIs will go across system vendor boards and give you the data if there's the permission for that or the user right for that. Of course, that will be maybe a bigger project in the future than it will be today and nowadays, because the user rights are default. Maybe in the future that's the big project for IT companies. It's because it's really complicated to handle data in an AI-based environment.
If we are putting all that or going a little away from vendors, they are already now supporting and surrounding themselves with their ecosystems of SIs, ISVs, whatever type of partners, consultants, whatever type of partners. So will the role of these types of partners change in an environment where we are looking more into, well, or less into the application frame itself, but exposing information, functionality, answers via different means?
Good question. I mean, if the roles change, of course, the role of channels always have to change. I mean, look, I mean, in 25 years ago, Ralph was heading a CRM company. I was in a little company. So, and the roles of the partners in that area completely changed. I mean, we have completely different roles in the CX era. We have agencies, we have strategy companies, and so on. So we have a multiple environments, and not in any project, any combination of that environment is doing a project together. But I'm pretty sure that the roles of partners of IT, of change partners will change in the next years. I mean, change management is since decades, one of the less used consultancies in projects, and that's one of the biggest problems in the most of transformation projects, because companies don't care about, or not enough about, the change management. At the end, they always cut the budget, or there's a budget limit, and it's always ends before the change management company join the project.
Or the QA one.
Yeah, and I think companies have to learn that this thing matters, and they will realize that, and with that the ecosystem will change, because I mean if the market answer or request some new roles, the environment, the ecosystem create these roles and decrease that roles. It's normal.
That's quite a good segue into actually next week's CRMKonvos. Shameless plug here. As well as, so last week I've been at a Creatio event. And well, next week we have the Chief Growth Officer of Segway in your chair, of Creatio in your chair. Now, one of the topics that came up there, and that I had a brief discussion with good friend Graham Hill as well, is they are a vendor that comes out of the no-code area, out of the process area, as opposed to the application area. So one of their theses is, and this is something I heard before from other people as well, including, well, Bob Starts, who does have a thing or two to say about the CRM industry as such, is that packaged applications like V2, for example, which just got built, my God, grammar, will go more into the background because there's so much customization overhead necessary anyways, and every client is different and focuses on their different, that they are investing a heck of a lot of money into making it work for them, that it, with the help of efficient AI builders, like we have right now, efficient no-code environments that get prompted, it's maybe just far easier to just build it yourself again. So the equation between buying and building, make or buy, changes totally.
Will be.
What do you think about this train of thought?
I mean, if we go back to the base of SAP, and we cannot imagine that SAP was built because IBM, as one of the leaders, doesn't see the market for standard software. I mean, we know nowadays it's the expectation of standard different than 50 years ago. I'm pretty sure that developing software, customizing software will maybe in the future will be something which is done in a highly level automatically by AI, and is only controlled or let's say finalized or specialized or veredelt. I don't know the words in English.
Refined.
Yeah, by IT consultancies or IT companies. I mean, 50 years ago, all the experts and the professionals couldn't imagine that there's a market for standard software in that environment. And now we could not imagine that all the developers will some days are gone in the markets. Or they have to change their roles or their perspective. I mean, does all these, I don't know, all these low budget developers in offshore centers and so on, will they have a future? Maybe all the companies which have huge centers should think about what AI will mean for them in the future. I think in the next five to 10 years, complex environments need to have some developers who put some things together, do the quality assurance and so on. But I think the easy things which offshore center do maybe will be gone in 10 years.
How will, I mean, I have some answers to that, but this also affects the ecosystem, the SI ecosystem in particular. I mean, if you don't send their business model is brains for time for money, which isn't sustainable there anymore. How does a company like yours, for example, in a scenario like that, need to change the business model? If you can't sell brains on a time and material base anymore that much because, well, it's just not there anymore.
What impressed me a lot in the first weeks was that, I mean, DATAGROUP is a company which has a relevant part of our turnover is done by, let's say, repeatable services. And what we already does is to put AI into that environment and let AI do more and more parts of this repeatable environment. Which means, I mean, the trend is clear. In years, we will have a relevant part of AI in these repeatable services. And maybe it's not only the question of it's going cheaper, but I think it's a question of which AI models, AI processes, AI organization are in a better quality than the others. And in the end, I'm pretty sure that one question, and that's maybe is a good circle for our initial discussion. At the end, quality make the race. Still in an AI environment, and that's the same discussion we had with customer experience. If you, it's a quality discussion or a mind discussion. If I wanna be better and better and try to get better and better, not to wait for the competition, I think even in the future, quality will make the race.
Perfect. These are also perfect, famous last words.
Yo.
So thanks for this. So this was highly insightful. And as you have realized, a conversation that went far away from any prepared bullet points that we took as a backup. They are always a backup only. So thanks for this.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for your insight. And next week, as already alluded to, we'll have Andy Dovkin of Croatia here in the not so hot seat. And we'll dig a little deeper into how CRM in an AI-driven world and in a no-code world can look like, or should look like, maybe will look like. Also, basically in the dilemma that we just dug into. How does it change? Do applications, pre-built applications, have still their role? Hint, maybe.
Interesting discussion.
Or not. So that will be quite interesting. And Andy is a very vocal voice. So he's a great voice. So he's coolio. Then thanks for everybody who still happens to be in. Thanks to you again. And let's go backstage.
Have a good evening together.